it's part of reason why we live and breathe to do things like this, to where my everyday job, I don't get to do that, and it's just a privilege to work on something that
and have a place to do it in.
that someone's gonna truly appreciate, and that that's the big payday right there, is when doing something that ties together and it just blows you away when it's all put together.
Yeah, I probably couldn't be more dissatisfying for each of you back and forth to be confident in the type of work that you believe that you're going to do, and to have somebody else compliment your work and do the same caliber of work, and to just make this thing just,
Yeah, that's all I'm doing is complimenting his work and just
but I mean,
you give me shit.
and I'm serious, because I think the fact that you painted this thing and you can appreciate how it's all being tied together, and it's not some pink leopard, some cheesy guitar. I mean, it's something that you can be proud of that you did, and know that, I mean, the amount of effort that you put into this thing is kind of matches the amount of front end work these guys did to put, to imagine it and make it reality.
Well, that's why I want him to meet you guys who buy the guitars, because this is the end result. This is what we do. Yeah, it'd be great to say we're making millions of dollars doing this, but it doesn't work that way. I mean, this kind of project, you got to put the time in just to make the thing happen. It's like, damn, I'm glad to get that opportunity. Because I don't know about you, it's like, where'd you ever, like working on the bikes, or something like that. You do it because you got a vision. You just got to get to the other end of it. So, but yeah, take a picture of that bass over there. That's also Bondo. Scan that one, but you got motion. Watch it still. I mean, this one's all sorted out. But I mean, it's, I don't know if you're getting it with a lot of dirt and stuff on it, but it's a gorgeous piece of work. Yeah, get that light to move on it. And I played the hell out of this thing, and that's the other thing is this stuff holds up better. I don't know if the lacquer you're using is any different than what they use at the guitar shops, but I got one thing there where I poked it with something. But I mean, if I wash this thing down, it'd be like new.
Automotive urethane.
Well, hey, tell about how many. He's got like 3 coats of clear.
Yeah, what materials went into you doing your part? As far as just like the paint and.
Why don't you take a picture of your guitar?
I'm just kind of building it up.
Use some slang term skinny mud, which is a polyester spread that tightens up the grain, fills it in, and you can shape with it. And then a primer, and the binding is nitrocellulose, right?
Yeah, it's a cellulose. Nitrocellulose would be the lacquer if I was doing it with guitar lacquer, but it's a cellulose.
Well, it's a cellulose, and it's very open and very porous.
It's the same stuff they make ping pong balls out of. If you hit a match to it, it flashes.
It's one of the challenges that how many times that edge had to be taped up, and it would not stick whatsoever on it because it was so porous. Just didn't have anything to grip to.
It kept falling apart.
So one process that I haven't done is after I primed it, I went straight to clear and sanded that down to where it would tie everything together, and I had something to grip to on the binding. And I had to sand that down, retape it, shot it with and using the clear as my sealer to where there wasn't any layering between the sealer and the base coat. Having to take that off, sand the edges down to get it smooth to where it was an uninterrupted line, to where it was
didn't layer up, didn't
layer up, didn't stick out, have steps. And then clear it, put 3 coats of clear on it, sand that down, retape it, and do a drop coat of the color.
I know why. You know,
just to make sure there's no imperfections in, in it. Take that off, tack it off, and do 3 more coats of clear. Then sand it down with 1500 grit, then 3000 grit, and then doing a 3-stage process of the buffing. And after it's all put together, then put a nice carnauba wax on it, and you better hold on tight because that thing will be slick.
Shit. I like to see how many people he lets play it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's I know a lot of guys I love to let play it because I love to hear them sound. Because that's the other thing. This is the final day. I mean, this is the day we saw the paint. But when we were picking pickups, I told him because we were going to paint this thing, and what he just said about the mud and stuff. Definitely, I like all bases painted because I think that's my own theory. But I know there's a difference between my just varnished base and the one he painted, and I like the sound a lot better. It's like it takes a little bit of the top glassiness off.
Fills it up.
Yeah, it's a little, and we have some old mini humbuckers in there. They can be pretty bright, but we balance the pots and stuff. But once he hears it with his paint, it's going to take the top off that thing, I think, just perfect. I think it's going to be just a killer sound guitar. And it's going to be all these combinations of stuff we've been talking about. And that mud, like I say on a bass, I don't like building basses unless they're painted. I mean, if the guy doesn't want to paint them, I'm not so sure I want to build it. Well, I would do it, but I mean, I just like the sound of finished work, finished paint, the Bondo, the lacquer, the different layers of lacquer and everything that just, I think, round out the pickup sweet. That's my take.
So, what would be some of the final thoughts going into about ready to put this thing together?
I can't wait to plug it in. That's my final thought. I can't wait to plug it in and hear it. And Bryan's a very clean player. This is a guitar for him. I mean, we got some medium to low output pickups. Humbucker's nice and quiet. I'm talking all the stuff put together. I mean, this thing's built with his kind of style in mind. But when you push some power through there and you put a little distortion on the thing, it's just gonna bellow. I mean, it's a big body. It's got a lot of mass removed. That means and it's out of pure ash, which is kind of I think is a nice top end wood that brings it down and actually doesn't get muddy. So I think it's just gonna be a sweet sound.
So
I want to keep it. That's my final thought. It's mine.
I think it's a Cadillac guitar with a Cadillac paint.
Well, where you gonna go? Cadillac, 57 or 58. What you gonna do?
I don't know.
And on the paint, one last thing. Took me 6 weeks to drying up that formula. Remember when I was taking to it? I went through Fender, couldn't give it. He couldn't sell me it because they had leased a license from GM. I got that message directly back from Fender. I checked out other places. They only sold it in aerosol cans. And I found some guy finally. I went all the way on email to Europe, and they had us stuff, but they couldn't ship it out because of environmental things. I finally ended up getting a hold of a guy in Michigan, and he actually sent us the formulas. Bondo plugged it in, and it hit.
Well, he gave us the codes, and I first shot it with the spray outs. The first spray outs with DuPont, and using a little higher, much higher quality paint, even though DuPont's good paint. Speesecker. I did a camera read on the spray out, and then just pimped it a little bit, made it to where it needed to be, and it's got all top of the line, just like the pickups and everything else. It's just top of line ingredients in it.
Yeah, there's 1,000 stories about that guitar. I mean, I know for a fact that wood I milled myself. I mean, I brought that tree down. I know I brought that tree down 8 years ago and milled it.
in Plymouth.
Yeah, it was ash trees that were coming down in the neighborhoods, and I rolled these huge logs back over my house. Then I got a guy come out with a mill. He set up in the cul-de-sac, and we milled the logs right there. So I know the body wood is been down and drying in a garage out in the middle of nowhere for minimum probably 8 maybe 9 years. I bought that ebony for that fingerboard over 10 years ago. You know what I mean? The curly maple I picked up somewhere probably 7 or 8 years ago that'd been down. I found it in actually just one of those woodcraft places or whatever. So there's nothing but stories about that guitar. You know what I mean? It goes on and on and on. So he's got pretty rich heritage in that already. And the beauty of that is, you gotta wait. Those guys, I mean, a manufactured guitar, that wood doesn't lay dead. It goes through kiln drying and is out on the shelf probably in less than, probably from the time it goes down to the shelf, maybe a year and a half, maybe. So to get a wood to age up like that, dry out and completely be dry, air dried, not kiln dried, is pretty phenomenal. You'd have to wait, like I say, you'd have to
Decade.
Yeah, you'd have to wait a decade. That's what happened. All that wood I got now is, I got some wood, well, Blondie, the one they picked up, that wood has been laying for at least 40 years. There was some gal's father who's long passed on, just plain mill, but that's another story. But that guitar is a lot like that. So, from the paint all the way back to getting the formulas for the paint, back to the wood. I mean, it's back to the learning about the pickups that Bryon picked for that. Those are, designed around his sound. So, pretty cool. Cool story.
Got a quote?
Quoting.
How about a Suter? How about a Suterism?
Probably can't use it. I don't know. You got one?
Well, it's just meant to be.
It's pretty. That's probably pretty appropriate considering I hung on to your business card for almost 9 years.
Good point.
8 years.
It's meant to be. There you go.
There was something about you that made me say to myself, I need to hang on to this card because at some point in time, it's such a random, a random meeting.
Yeah, you and Van.
And turns into another random meeting with you at your old house out in Plymouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it took this long to have the right set of circumstances to make it happen.
Play. That's the amazing thing about this. Look what you put in motion. That's the crazy thing. Is the guy just had an appreciation for, Bryan's a good musician. You saw something there that needed fire. Just gonna give it to him. He ain't gonna put this guitar up. I mean, he's gonna play loud. And I told him that. I said, when you get it, and that makes all the difference. But
and I think that was, my initial thought was, he's got a really good opportunity here when his record was stolen. He had a lot of people supporting him, stepping up and giving him a new opportunity to redo his record. Had a lot of momentum, a lot of positive signs, and a new kind of lease on his music. And I felt like, in the end, if that guitar was in his hands to kind of merge with him as he was hitting the stride with his new record, I just, well, now it's coming out February, March is when he's going to release it.
I would have liked to have it in his hands for recording, of course,
right.
But,
so that's kind of where I was at, and, I definitely feel really fortunate to have, in making this happen, to have somebody like yourself do it, and for you to have a friend like Bondo do paint. I'm serious. Just to see the quality of the paint, I'm really impressed. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit out in the marketplace, and just about any product that you see, and that is just character and quality. And I'm not yanking your chain. I'm very impressed with the whole thing, and to know that Bryon is just gonna, Well, I don't need to know what goes through his head every time he sees it when he picks it up to play it.
Well, he was.
But they're knowing the rest of his. Yeah.
I'm liking the wood as is. And I'm like, no, not yet.
So that's pay enough for
me. The only thing I would say, and it's the old quote in the book: no pain, no gain. It's not easy doing this, and he'll tell you it's not easy. But when you sit there and you look at it, you see it played. And when you see it played, and the sound comes out of it. It's being a part of that sound. Yeah. So that's all I got.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.